Okay, folks, we'll call the meeting to order, the Economic Development Commission. December 1st, 6 p.m. Thank you folks for coming tonight. We have our November minutes. We are, I think, shy of quorum. Take that vote, Chris.
Yes, we are. Yep, we are.
Okay. We'll table that. We'll move on to item number 3, public comments.
Yep.
Let's take over that.
Sure. So this one is one that I've been working on for a while. I was working with Chad Morin, who's on the line, and his attorney Coleman Levy. And he is looking at essentially purchasing the Bostrom Tree Farm on the Chamberlain Highway. He wishes to do a couple things. One, expand the operation instead of Christmas trees, have trees that can then be sold to landscapers, really make it more of a functioning property. In addition, he owns a tree company that he would like to have there as well. The tree company essentially would supply wood, mulch, etc. One of the great things is Chad is actually arborist, college grad, and so I will give Chad an opportunity to talk a little bit about kind of what you're thinking, and then just to get some feedback from the commission or any questions they have.
So before we move on
Yes.
to that.
Yes.
What is the zone there?
Sure, it is POD,
POD?
Planned Office Development. Agriculture is allowed by right. And the situation is this. So we worked with the zoning enforcement officer, and so we got the sign off. The issue was the tree service was labeled as a clean contractor, which is not allowed in the zone. So they said, well, you can have the trucks there, but we can't give you the approval to have both the tree business and the farm there at the same time. So really at this point, we're looking at trying to take next steps, because right now you can't make it work with selling Christmas trees. So essentially, and what it is the tree business is complementary to the farm itself. Because why don't you explain, Chad, kind of how the two intertwine? That's a better idea. And just looking to get the support of what he's looking to do here.
But
Yeah.
P&Z
Yep.
said you can do this or you can't, and we have to change something.
Right now, we're looking at likely needing a tax amendment,
Okay.
because kind of what, and what we've actually been working with Attorney Levy, myself, and Chad.
Could I sort of explain the situation?
Please. That would be great, Coleman. Thank you.
Okay. The present operation of the property includes the growing of Christmas trees and the sale of firewood, mulch, and topsoil. The 3 items that I just mentioned are brought in from the outside by third parties. The logs come in and they're cut and stacked on site. Mulch is brought in, and topsoil. In addition to that, they grow Christmas trees, and those are they maybe sell 100, 150 Christmas trees. And really, from an economic standpoint, it really doesn't withstand and support an ongoing living. Chad wants to maintain that particular operation completely. And in addition to that, he wants to grow other types of trees, ornamental trees and shrubbery that he can then sell off to landscapers for their use. Chad made an application, and all of those things were included and approved. And the real question came up, we thought, for clarification, in which Chad has the Morin Tree Service. So, he plants trees, he cuts them down, and he trims them, okay? And of course, the trees that he cuts down appropriately, he'll bring back to the farm, and they'll end up being firewood, very similar to a third party bringing that in. In addition to that, a lot of the equipment that he uses in his tree service business is complementary and needed in the farming operation that he proposes, and that was perfectly okay. But in addition to that, he wanted to be able to garage and store basically a couple of vehicles, some vehicles, and some of the equipment that is specifically allocated for tree service and not for the farm service at the location. And we thought within the application that it was included, and they signed on it. And then they stated, no, you can't park your truck there at night and drive it away in the morning, because nothing else would be done with regard to the tree service at the site. The only thing that would take place with regard to the tree service, there'd be no signage out there or anything of that sort. It would be just merely a parking, storing the truck, probably in the building that's going to be built on site. And that would be it. Okay. There's no operation with regard to this tree service taking place at the site. The only thing is garaging some equipment and employees being dispersed in the morning and returning in the late afternoon. In addition to that, as a result of this, the town now receives a whopping $122 in taxes for the existing facility. And with what Chad is proposing and is permitted, he's going to build a building, and there's going to be a significant increase in real estate taxes and in personal property taxes, because at the end of the day, all of that equipment will be registered in Berlin. And so there's an economic benefit to the community without really an insignificant change to what is absolutely permitted at this time. So our point is, since this is an economic commission, we think that this is a very viable economic addition for the community, and it's retaining the agricultural designation that is presently there. And Chad is young and vibrant, and he would plan to be here for a long time. So that's sort of all she wrote. And if there are any questions with regard to that, I assure you, Chad is on the Zoom and can add anything that I missed or amplify and answer any questions that you might have.
Yeah, I'd be happy to elaborate a little more. I think, Coleman, you did a good job of explaining it. But basically where we're at right now with the approval of our application and the little roadblock that we recently hit was we're approved to move in and build our structure and run the farm to the scale at which we intend on, growing the tree operation, growing the firewood operation, and the retail sale of the bark mulch and the topsoil. That's all approved. The square footage of the building is approved as well. And in order to run that operation, it's virtually the exact same amount of machines and tools that run my tree service operation, which will be needed to carry out this operation as well. So with the problem that they're having a problem with me dispatching the tree service out of this parcel, it's really only a matter of two additional pieces of equipment that I own that aren't exactly daily farm pieces of machine, and that would it includes an aerial lift. So that's not going to be used on the tree farm per se, but I'm only seeking permission to park it there. It's not going to be used on site. Its duties are carried off site, which allow me to supplement the farm with material on which it can operate.
And I'm going to pull up the picture here of the and there we go. So let's see if I can blow this up a little bit here. So this was conceptually what Chad was looking at. The problem is trying to turn this. Did it work? I can't tell what happened here. Hold on, let me move this to the side. Okay, apparently I made the whole thing disappear. All right, let's try this again. Well, that's tremendous. Ready. Stop share here until I can figure out what's going on there. It was there, and let me just open up the other one here because I have it. Give me 30 seconds here. Let me here land.
What is to the north of that property?
And this is high tension power lines.
Yeah, there's basically you have a house. This is the first property in the POD zone. Then you have the lettuce place next door.
And the residential house, the owner has provided a letter supporting the activity.
So there's this parcel, there's a house, and then the high tension wires?
Yep, and then there's more
Yeah.
house on the other side of
No.
the high tension, yep. Yep,
Mm.
so,
House is here, tension wires to the left of it. Property goes to the right of the house, and comes up the back corner, and come up to the tension lines. Tension lines, the hay field is right before the house. The hay on the front, to the left of the house, not to the right of the house.
Still confused. There's this property,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the tension lines, or there's a house?
There's this property, Keith's property,
Yes,
there's a house,
okay.
and the power lines.
Oh, there is, okay,
you can see the yellow house right there.
there's a residential house.
Yep. All right. I got it now, guys. So what I'm going to do, Chad, is let me just do a quick share here. And if you just kind of want to walk through, essentially what we're looking at is from the Chamberlain Highway. So the one house there on your left, and then the tree farm is in the middle here. So if you want to, you can just kind of walk through, Chad, what kind of where things are, what you're looking to do, if you could.
Yeah, so if you're looking at it right now, this is basically showing the proposed structure I intend on building. It's the black spot in the middle of the parcel there. That's going to be the farm building. The farm building is going to be used to house all the machinery that's used to run the farm, specifically skid steers, excavators, and tree spades. Things that are going to be moving these trees about and working the land. And then on the south side, there's a greenhouse that's attached to the building. That's going to be for tree propagation year round in order to keep inventory up, combat the winter months, essentially. The back of the parcel, it's a little bit blurry, but in the back left corner or the northeast corner, I believe that's where the earth materials, if you will, are going to be housed. So it's, if you go by the tree farm today, you'll see that is the current layout as it exists. So currently they firewood back there. I believe they keep some topsoil back there, no mulch or anything, but that is the low spot on the parcel and it's completely hidden from the road. So the idea is to grow the trees on the front of Chamberlain Highway so that it appears as an aesthetically pleasing farm, with several different varieties of trees and plots. And then the firewood, is pretty much kept out of sight, and in an area where it's not kind of in front of everybody's face. And that's how it's laid out currently. I intend on keeping it like that. If you zoom out, you can see that there's a house on the northwest, abutter. That is a residential house. His name is, I think it's Mark Barnes is his name. Barnes is his last name. Very nice guy. He's fully in support of this plan. This was all shown to him. He gave us a letter of approval. And then his property stops short there. I think it only goes a couple 100 feet in. That is all high tension power lines behind him. And then if you go further to the north, which is out of sight here, there are a handful of residential houses there. But everything to the south of my parcel is POD, for, I believe it's about a mile. So it's all pretty much the exact same zone.
I have, I have a couple questions, Chad, if I might.
Yeah.
How many tree crews go out every day?
So that's another thing that I'm happy to answer all of these questions. I wish that I was asked these questions earlier. I am a single crew. So my intention with this parcel is to grow the tree farm. The tree service, I'd like to coincide, just to keep it on the parcel. But as far as scaling my tree operation, I'm not interested in that. I'm a single crew operation. I would say on a daily basis, there would be maybe 3 trucks that leave that have anything to do with my tree operation.
Okay.
And as far as coming and going, it's pretty much in the morning and coming back at the end of the day. Typical tree work.
Okay, and let's talk about the tree equipment. Are we talking?
Could you talk up a little bit, please?
Yeah. Can you turn it up, Chris?
I
talking,
can give it a shot.
Let's go through dump trucks, bucket trucks, aerial lifts, chippers. What are we talking about that's going to be parked there?
I would say, I mean, yeah, to run the tree farm, I'm gonna need an excavator, at least 1 skid steer,
But that's approved.
tree
But those are-
spades, chippers. The only thing that really has nothing to do with the farm would be, I don't own a bucket truck, but it's a spider lift. It's essentially the exact same thing. It's just not a truck mounted unit. But the aerial platform is really the only thing that really doesn't have anything to do with the operations of the tree farm on a daily basis. I'm basically just seeking permission to have that on the parcel.
Do you need a tractor trailer to move that piece of equipment around?
No, it's on like a 10,000 pound pintle hitch trailer.
Okay,
It gets towed by a pickup truck.
okay, thank you.
How big's the parcel?
4.8
5 acres.
acres.
Just shy of 5 acres.
Yes.
Are you going to end up getting you're going to need a tree spade to dig out your ornamentals?
Yes. So the tree spade that I run is skid steer mounted tree spade.
The question from Chris was about how big of a building were you looking at? And you can describe the building to some degree.
So the building that was approved it's for 8,000 square feet, and it incorporates a greenhouse on the back. So I included a letter too, and I tried to do my best to describe the use in it. I supplied the letter with the application, but it states sort of 3 primary uses. One is to house the equipment from both the tree service and the farm. They're the same entity, essentially, to house them indoors, to basically keep them operational and keep the aesthetic of the farm clean. I don't want this to look like a junkyard of any kind. I want this to be a neat, clean operation. So that's a bulk of the building is storage. The south facing side is going to be a greenhouse. That's for tree propagation. That's used year round. That's just for a climate controlled area to keep the inventory up. And then a dwelling in the building for a farm caretaker, for someone who can basically take care of this farm year round.
So Chad and Chris Edge, you're here tonight because P and Z doesn't like the tree service aspect.
No,
No.
oh, no. The P and Z at this time doesn't know anything about this. The only time that we had any pullback was with regard to the zoning enforcement officer. Okay, but in having a meeting with the town officials, in fact, today, they were all totally in support of the total operation, including the housing of the tree service equipment and the dispatching of the of trucks sort of in the morning and coming back at night. So the
Agree with that?
town planning and zoning has not in any way heard any of this. You're the first commission that's had any hearing, and the position was to let you know from an economic development standpoint what's taking place. But the next meeting we expect will be an informal meeting before the TP&Z, I believe on the 11th of this month. But no, the only entity that said we don't think you can do it with regard to the zoning, except if we get a wording change, was the zoning enforcement officer. So
Okay.
Yep.
That's-
And let me step in one second. So here's kind of where it is. So I had worked with both Chad and Attorney Levy, put together some language for a text amendment, which essentially the word that I think works best here is the word supplementary, as in it is supplying something on the property. So you can't have a farm and a bunch of dump trucks. So right now, the language is being looked at by Alexa. So Alexa's going to put together language that likely myself, Chad, and Coleman are going to present on the 11th to planning and zoning, just conceptually to say, is this something you believe makes sense in the zone of the property? Because then we don't want to see, for instance, you look at,
This is for what? Home?
yeah, it would essentially be for the farm.
But it's not really a farm.
No, it is still going to be a farm.
How can it be a farm before we get all this extra tax revenue?
That's a question for Chad. If he
They're
if
pulling PA 490 off of it if they're gonna get.
yeah,
commercial
would you
tax
would you make it commercial versus 490, Chad? Is that your plan at this point, or
No, I intend on this still being agricultural, still being a farm.
still being a farm? So it would be
revenue.
then would probably be, I guess would be the equipment for the tree service. Yeah, the personal property.
That would be taxable.
So the whole thing is, as I look at this, if you have a dump truck, a spider lift, which is on a trailer, and a chipper, you're not talking about a lot of equipment, all right? That's parked on 7-something acres. But if it's gonna look like a Lewis Tree Service site, where you have 20 bucket trucks all rolled out.
no.
Or I understand, sir, or Bartlett, where they,
Yeah.
you park in, 50 pieces of equipment there and every morning they all take off. That would probably not be allowed. I have a tree service, so with it, I'm not gonna be able to vote on any of this today. I'm gonna recuse myself if we're gonna vote at all. This, I
Yep.
think I should.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I don't think tonight necessarily, there needs to be a vote necessarily tonight. It's more of just to make you guys aware that
Of
we're
what
going
you
through the
guys are
process.
doing.
Yeah, just to kind of keep you aware, because it'll be in front of the commission. The biggest piece essentially is going to be the language that we have going forward.
Sure.
And it was more just to kind of get an idea from you guys with certain questions. I mean, the good thing is too, is Chad has a small tree service. It's currently in Farmington. Essentially, the tree service essentially is going to be the piece of the farm that helps to operate the farm again.
Sure.
And again, I don't know anything about equipment, but it's really going to be something where it's going to allow his business the ability to grow the farm, which again, not a lot of potential agricultural uses that can do stuff. So really it's more to let you guys know, no need for a vote tonight, just kind of let you know as we kind of move along.
Well, I don't know what you vote on.
Well, so there are times, sir, where we vote to support an idea or a concept.
Yeah.
So that when you get to P and Z, you say, we pitched this to economic development and,
Sure.
discussion with them. And they, had a vote this evening and they support the concept of what we want to do with that parcel. That's the reason we typically.
Terrific.
Something. I'm not sure we're gonna do that tonight. The other thing, Chris Edge, is that
Yes.
maybe it helps if you limit the amount of tree service equipment that could be at the site. You see what I mean?
Mhm.
Like if planning is only thinks you're gonna have 30, 10 spider lifts, 10 bucket trucks, 10 chippers, 10 dump trucks.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna have one dump truck, one chipper, one spider lift on a trailer. That may help sell it, but I'm not sure how that fits with Chad's future goals. You know
Well,
what I
I
mean?
think
Well,
what it
well,
is too is I think part of the plan is to have everything within the building, which is going to be building.
Oh, I see.
So again, I think you're correct. And really our biggest piece, and I think Coleman had said it best today, which is bring the language back to us, which will allow Chad to have the business here
Sure.
and to grow the farm. So really right now, we're more waiting for, and yes, agreed. I know that at, I got 2 properties down that had, who was our grower guy for years and years? Shoot, Pierre's property. We had 2 different companies that bought it. One was a construction company that had another construction equipment. One, I'm not even sure what they were doing. So again,
Well-
the intent is not to have that. The intent is to have something that will be complementary, where he can grow his business, but more importantly, grow the farm side of it. Because I mean, right now it's, what do you figure? A couple hundred trees max, somewhere thereabouts?
I think annually he sells about 200 trees. There's roughly 1,000 of various size currently on the property.
Gotcha.
Look, I'd like, understand that we met today with the professional staff, and they didn't get into the weeds and they didn't think that was concerned. They understood the situation and they were basically, I would say, supportive of this operation. And we basically stated, we provided some wording and we gave it to them and we said, whatever wording you want to do that allows Chad to operate his business is perfectly acceptable to us. The fact of the matter is, basically, he doesn't have a dump truck in his operation. Okay. Secondly, okay, I think it gets to be very difficult if you can say you can only have one truck and there are 2 trucks. Okay. The real thing is the concept of what we're talking about, it being, and we would appreciate and hope that you'll be supportive of it, because the details of it are going to be worked out through the town planner, and probably at the end of the day, TP&Z, as to what they're going to specifically permit or disallow.
I have a question for Chad. What kind of trees trees and shrubs you gonna grow on the property? Because you said they'll be in front. What kind of trees and shrubs you planning to grow?
So I'd like to continue on with the evergreens that he has. Less so focused on growing them as Christmas trees, more so, like I said, as a nursery stock, where people can come and buy these trees to plant for their own landscape. So the tree spade would be to basically dig them up, burlap them for planting. I'd like to continue on with a lot of the Douglas firs, a lot of the spruce. I'd like to grow arborvitae, specifically green giants, which are mostly deer resistant, which I think is something that's pretty important, especially in a town like Berlin where people have land and don't always have fences to protect their landscape. And the idea behind having the greenhouse is in time, be able to introduce more like ornamental trees. Personally, I'd really like to grow dogwoods. I know it's a major challenge, especially a lot of the nursery stock that I deal with. A lot of my vendors get them down from Virginia. There have been tremendous blights on flowering dogwoods over the past several years. A lot of droughts haven't helped that either. So if I can create a controlled environment to propagate the dogwoods, I think they're a beautiful tree, and add a lot of
Correct.
property value. So I'd really like to expand into that.
So question for you, that's for the future, and hopefully your operation will be success and blooming. With the dogwood, would you be willing to donate if everything gonna go smooth, and we will support you if we all decided in this venture? Would you be willing to donate few dogwoods to the town of Berlin?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe 4.
I like 5. 5 is better number.
You got them. You got them.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners?
I have two.
Go ahead, sir.
So 2 questions. One, with currently about 1,000 trees, you're saying is on the property, that takes up a good portion of the space. Where are we gonna put all these other trees coming in here, to expand the operation? You're gonna be
So
bringing
if
trees
you-
in- Hang on, let me finish. Are you gonna be bringing in trees from other vendors to sell off of the property, or is it all gonna be produced on the property? And then secondly, as the trees come back into stumps and such like that, is it all gonna be firewood, or are you planning on grinding those up and making mulch and things of that nature on the property?
I guess I'll answer in 2 parts. So as far as the trees go, if you go to the property right now, there's 2 main tree plots, and they stretch the entire north to south property borders right in the belly of the parcel. So where the building is being proposed is currently in the middle of the tree plots. And it doesn't take up much. I'd say maybe, I'm looking at it right now. About
Yeah, I have it up on the screen right now. We
Yeah,
shared it.
about 20% is currently tree plot right now. I'd be looking to take a lot of, not all of the trees that are on the parcel right now are really high quality. I'd take the ones that are high quality, and I'd like to relocate them to the west, slide them up towards Chamberlain Highway. So I can basically just take that whole right plot and just shift it up. And then the other one on the left there, I'd like to keep majority of that. And then in the back, that would be the southeast corner. On my concept plan, I show it too. I'd like a little bit of a tree plot there. There was, and this is speculative at this point, there was mention before I made the offer on this parcel that there was potential to lease land from the neighbor directly out back, so directly west of the parcel. That was going to also be used for tree plots. I'd like to grow more trees back there as well. However, that isn't secure at the moment. I'm hoping that does work out in time, but it'll have to be, I'll have to deal with the owner down the road, I guess, to secure that. Oh, I'm sorry. You asked about material as well. So as far as the material goes, yeah, I'm going to continue with everything that's going on the farm currently. So as far as mulch goes, to be quite honest with you, I don't really intend on scaling any sort of mulch operation. I'd like the ability to sell it because it complements the trees. So when people buy a tree or want to plant a tree, mulch is a vital thing to have, especially here in the Northeast, to get things through winter and protect the root system. So I'd like to be able to sell quality topsoil, quality mulch. Those things, I don't have plans to produce them per se, but I'd like to be able to retail sell them. The logs that come in from off-site would be processed into firewood. So that would be done on site. And that's the current business model of the farm.
Any other questions, folks? Are we okay moving along?
Yep, yeah, well, yep, I think we are. Again, it was more of an FYI. We had today was the first, you can tell me if I'm mistaken, gentlemen. Today was a really first good productive meeting we've had. We've largely been beating our head against the wall, but just want to kind of let you know again, we will probably come back with some language to you that the planning staff will put together, can talk to you about it, because again, this is going to be a text amendment, then would be entirety within the zone to be allowed within the
Okay.
zone.
So it's okay to move on to item 4 on the agenda. Okay, good.
Yep.
Abatements. Chris, thank you, gentlemen.
Coleman, Chad, thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
very
you,
much,
guys.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on a second. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. So, Peter, if you would like to come up on the screen here, this is the modification to the agreement and policy. So I just thought I would give you the floor because you were unable to make the last meeting, clarify a little bit on kind of what you're looking to do. And then if there's any documents that I have you'd like me to bring up, I can do that for you.
Okay, thank you. I think you can see and hear me. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Peter Diadio. I've been in front of this commission a number of times over the last several years. The commissioners may or may not have changed. I'm not sure. I know Chris has been here for this period, and I think I've been in front of most of you before. To just give a little background, we started the development of this site really in 2008 or 2006 when we bought it, and we didn't know what we were exactly going to do. But in 2011, we secured our first fill permit on the property. And as we started to fill the site and it started to become a commercial venture and we started to understand what the site was, we started working with, actually this commission was the first commission I worked with a tax abatement because we wanted to do a large scale apartment and mixed use property here, which it wasn't currently zoned for. We modified the zone and was successful in creating the mixed use zone that we have here today. During that time, we've came in front of the board here requesting this 10-year tax abatement. And when we did this, we presented several different pieces of information for the board to consider. And again, we thought the Economic Development Board was the board to be in front of here because they more or less sponsor the tax abatement program. And Chris at that time had several different ones, a 5-year, a 3-year, a 10-year for certain uses. And so we sought the 10-year tax abatement because of the size of the project. In order to secure financing, that's what was required. During that period, we presented certain pieces of information and estimated tax revenue or tax burden, let me say. And of course, the abatement was going to modify that to a degree. And at that time, we had estimated a $30 million project, and I think the agreement stated $25 million or more to create our 10-year abatement. And we showed some forecasts of what those look like. Chris has them there. We can bring them up if you feel it's necessary. And at that time, we brought up the tax burden on our competing properties, and there was 3 of them at the time. And that's where we got our basis from. They were $1,400 a year per unit and $1,600 a year per unit. And our 10-year forecast, showed a number of economic growth indicators such as jobs and grand list generation of size and tax estimated generation as well. And those started in our base year when we made our presentation at that time. At any rate, we started work without a bank, and we only signed our tax abatement recently in 2024. But our presentation was in 2021 and 2020 and 2022 and again in 2023 because we started work. we started work on the property when we secured our permits in 2021 without a bank. But the bank required the in writing 10-year tax abatement or they wouldn't finance the property. And so we signed that agreement early in 2024 when we closed on our construction loan. Now, of course, to persuade the bank to go along with us, there were forecasts, there were estimated budgets, and which were all based on our original presentations that we made to this group, as well as the finance group, as well as the town council, and so forth. And to verify and back up that information, of course, we had to hire third-party appraisers to also go through the same exercise. Estimate what your tax burden was going to be, estimate what the generation of the tax abatement, actually what the result was. And that's how we came to an agreement with our lender, and that's how we closed our loan. However, what we didn't do, I don't want to use the word correctly or right, but what we overlooked, is in the language of our tax abatement that we signed. And again, I've attached that too. We could pull that up as well, but Chris has that available. We didn't consider what a base tax year was because time just kept going by. We did this all in 2020, 2021, it's 2026 now, so the tax abatement, as you recall, and maybe you don't recall it exactly, but let me just phrase it. It begins when the building is in its most significant stage. In other words, when it's a CO, when it's finished. So through the years, 2000, 2021, 2022, 2023, we don't take the abatement because it's not fully built. I mean, I guess we could elect to, even though the agreement says that's not the case, because the advantage of the abatement is once it's fully built, you take the abatement versus the first year when you get your zoning approval and your assessment moves a little bit, you don't start the abatement now. You wait, you pay the tax. And we did. We've paid the tax and we've not complained about the tax. The assessments increased and we've paid the assessment during the construction period. But without the base year established in your tax agreement, what we were basing our economic forecast for, we overlooked the base year. And so when the assessor assesses the lot, he doesn't know that where we began. He doesn't know the routine that we went through over the multiple years of meeting with this commission and meeting with the finance board and meeting with the town council until we create this project that we anticipated in 2000, that it's now come to fruition, 2000. I think we got our first CO in June. So the tax assessment has increased from our base year, which was 174,000 when it really was a forest or a farm. We knocked those buildings down, but that's what it was when we started this process. And to today's assessment of 5 million. And so to start your abatement with a $5 million base is not the intent of our agreement. The intent of our agreement was the economic advantage, the construction, the filling, the utilities, the site work. There's $8 million of site work, all those added to the assessment as it went, and we paid the tax. But when it came time for the relief, it will probably be the next assessment year. I think it's October. We will be assessed and apply the abatement because now we have a full assessment of building 1, and then it's going to have building 2, and actually it's building 5, building 1, building 4, building 3, and as the buildings are developed and completed, the phase assessment applies as the building gets completed. So what we have today, which is in front of the council, and we met with the town manager, and we've met with Chris, and we've met with your town attorney, and they've discussed it with our attorney, what was intended and what we ended up with, because we overlooked, and it's only a few words. If you Chris has it and he can share it with everyone. It's only a few modifications, a few words in the total agreement, but it states the original intent of when the tax year was expected, so that the abatement would apply towards all the improvements that we did to the property, not just the difference from last year to next year. And so really that's what the modification is about. And if you really look at the economic advantage that this project has brought to the Berlin Turnpike and to the town of Berlin, and we're very pleased with it. You know, we've got a hotel coming online now next, which will be in front of the planning and zoning meeting. I think in January. We've already been there, made application. It's a 90-room hotel, a Country Inn and Suites by Radisson. And of course, you've already seen the gas station open, and Aroma Joe's does pretty well. I think it'll do better. And now that we've built this first building, we have 20 leases signed, 16 occupied units. And the next building, building number 1, which is another 40 units, we're pending our certificate of occupancy. Maybe next week, our elevator is going to be turned on like on the 5th. And then the week after that, we're working through our
Pete, if I could just cut you off 1 second. Do you know, so let's say the language goes through. Do we know what kind of dollars and cents that's going to mean from a tax abatement perspective if the language is changed to the base year of 2020?
Well, it'll be the kind of abatement that we discussed in all our previous meetings. In other words,
I'm curious to know if you knew what the dollars. I'm just curious to know what the dollars and cents are.
Well, again, you know, so it's speculative until the assessment is actually made. But I can give you a general idea, right? If you look at the 3 competing properties that we presented in 2021, right? The average tax burden on a per unit basis was between $1,400 and $1,600 per unit per year.
Is this within the document you emailed to me or no?
Yes, it is. You
Okay,
can pull them up if you like.
Let me get to that document, and then you can tell me which one I should be opening up here.
It's the one that says
Existing apartment complexes?
yeah, the existing, right.
Alrighty, okay, so this gives us a better idea here on what we're looking at. There we go. Okay, so this was the existing ones at that time, what the taxes were per unit is what you're saying.
That's right. Yeah, and there may have been some increase since then, but you know, we'd have to go back and resurrect that. The reason I gave you these is because this is what our presentation took place at that time. So, in other words, if I created new information, then I'd be changing the information that we had originally. Is that not opening for you?
Oh, the document didn't open up? Sorry. Let me
Well, I don't know if it did. I can't see it.
No. The problem is it stayed with the previous one. So let me try this again here. There we go. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yep.
So at the
there's
time, these were the buildings that were closest to us finished, right? So the Stone Bridge was $317,000. It was $1,600 per unit. The second, the Sage Pond, was $1,480 per unit, $128,000. And then the one below that was $1,400 per unit. So I don't know if there's another one or not. At any rate, those were the newest buildings at the time. Now, perhaps those assessments have increased since then. And if they have, it would be applied appropriately, because if you recall, our abatement is a percentage of the completed unit. And so that's all we were looking for, that percentage of the completed unit, of the total project cost. But without the amendment, it doesn't allow for the total project cost as we forecasted. It allows for 25% of the total project cost, because the $5 million of the assessment is not being abated.
Okay,
And that's not what was expected.
Thank you, Peter. I think we're hearing similar things tonight.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, we'll ask.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you may need to speak a little bit louder, Dave.
So, Pete, I think we're hearing, something similar that, Steve pitched us last Economic Development Commission meeting. I'm not hearing like something new. Steve pitched all this to us last time. And I have a couple questions. You're looking to get abatement on land because you improved it. That's what I'm hearing, right?
No, I don't think that's the fact at all. I think we're looking to get the abatement on the improvements that we prepared, which is part of the $30 million project. You know, it's if you say, well, you want abatement on land. Well, land, we just donated 20 acres to the town per our agreement. And of course, during that process, we have to have it appraised. And so I've supplied Chris with that appraisal and that 20 acres that we deeded to the town of Berlin as we agreed to. And the appraisal is $300,000 for the whole 20 acres.
Sure.
So the
understand that.
additional value of our improvements that are being assessed and are called land, they're really improvements, which were the economic generator of building these buildings. The
Right.
retaining walls and fill and utilities, and it's a substantial amount of the project. And if it's overlooked, then we're really not getting the abatement that was agreed to.
Well, let's just talk about this for a moment. One of the problems is we've had many applicants come to us with tax abatement applications that didn't include improvements to land, which is what you would like included as the overall package. And I am concerned that all those applicants can come back to us if we were to move forward with something like this with you and want modifications to their abatement applications that were approved in the past. So you could see how that could create quite a mess and quite a lot of work at town hall. So I just bring that forward. Now, the other thing I want to mention is, let's say that parcel of land that you purchased was at the right elevation, was perfectly flat, and you didn't have to bring and do any improvements other than to put a shovel in the ground and start digging. If that were the case, might the price of that piece of land been a lot more than versus the fact that you had to bring a lot of fill in, compact a lot of, and do improvements to get it to that level that you could use it?
Mr. Councilman, that I think is the exact point, right? That you're 100% right. If we did not do those things to the property, right, the property could not have the economic benefit and generator that it has today. It's only because we did that. And part of that was the expected tax abatement program, because you have to remember, otherwise, here's what you don't, sometimes people overlook, right? You know, to generate the capital to build a project like this, there's two pieces of it, right? There's capital, cash, and there's financing, right? And financing has all kinds of underwriting expectations. And if you don't underwrite and have the right expenses versus income, then they give you less money. And if they give you less money, then you need more equity. And then the project doesn't get built because you can't afford to build it, right? So part of the model, right, is, okay, I'm going to spend $30 million. We're going to put in $6 million of equity and we're going to go finance $24 million. But the rents are going to be high enough. Oh, wait a minute, the rents can't be high enough. Well, we want moderate income. Oh, we want to have some lower rents. Then how do we fund that? Well, part of it was the tax abatement. And it wasn't considered at the time that we'd only take part of the capital that you invest to be abated. It was that, no, we don't want an abatement of the existing improvements, but of the new improvements that we're going to invest in the land is what we need to consider the tax abatement for. And that's why we did all those economic projections of
Right, but
what kind of
point-
income the town would generate and what kind of relief they would give us in order to create this income generator.
I understand all that, Peter, but let's say the parcel was flat, you had to do nothing, and the price tag was 5 million. Just say.
I couldn't buy it. You'd have to
Oh,
find
all
somebody
right,
else.
I'm just making up a number. Let's say it's
Okay.
5 million. It's a beautiful piece of property. You don't have to do any improvements. Just start, put a shovel in the ground and build. At that 5 million price tag, you're not gonna come to us with an abatement application for that land.
I
Okay?
wouldn't need to, correct.
No, okay, but let's say the land that you bought needed a lot of improvements and you only spent 500,000 to buy it. And then you had to put 4.5 million in to improve it to get to that $5 million level. It's the same thing one way or another. You pay 5 million for a beautiful piece that needs no work, and you wouldn't come to us with an application for that. Or you pay 500,000, put 4.5 million in and get it flat and beautiful so you can use it. That's my point that I want to bring forward.
Well, your point's well taken, and I'm not debating your concept, but I think the whole point is you've really outlined exactly what happened. We bought the land with a tax foreclosure, right? We spent years developing it, trying to make something happen, actually a multitude of years. And we finally came up with a solution, right? We'll invest this money, we'll do all these land improvements. However, in order to make it a reality, we need a tax abatement and a lot of other things. The tax abatement was, one of the items we needed. We changed the zone. Matter of fact, we changed the zone for the whole area, and now you see apartments going up all over the place. We
Sure.
convinced the municipality that mixed use and apartments was good, and now you see a real driver. We've had to bring equity in and sell people to the fact that we want to invest in this piece on the Berlin Turnpike, and engineering and floodplain and wetland. And we did all those things. And the anticipation of being able to finance the project, quite frankly, if the deal has changed, we'll be in default of our loan and the project will stop. So
Right.
we're not coming back and asking for anything that different now than we asked when we started. We're just asking to confirm the bargain that we already made so that, we don't have egg on our face and we can't say that we committed a fraudulent act by stating that we were going to have a certain tax abatement and that because we, misread something or missigned something or what it said is different than what we meant, cause us to be in error.
I have a question, if I may.
Please go
The
ahead.
costs you're talking about that have become part of the base year include what types of costs? Are they soft costs for engineering and
Well,
design?
actually, no. They are soft costs of engineering, by the way, sir. I think it was a good question because we have another $8 million of soft costs. No, we're talking about our hard construction costs.
Okay, so
You know-
there's site improvements, grading, drainage, utilities, pavement, sidewalks,
That's right. Concrete,
retaining
steel.
walls. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So
yes,
there are hard construction costs and real improvements to the property.
that's right.
They're just not in the building.
Exactly. And you can't call them building because
Right.
they're, you remember our footings, are 11 feet wide,
Mhm.
3 feet deep. Our walls are 13 feet tall, and on one side are 800 feet, on the other side are 800 feet long. They're substantial. They hold up we call it Main Street. It's a whole level above, where we park underneath it. And you can't call it building. So they call it site or land.
It's site work and physical improvements to the property other than buildings themselves.
That's right. That's right.
Okay,
And
thank you.
utilities, your sewer, water,
Yeah.
same thing, that our water goes underneath that footing,
Yeah.
so it's, 18 feet deep. Now, we put it in some of it early, but some of it we had to dig 18 feet. So, so there's all the utilities, gas, sewer, water, electric.
Okay.
And when the assessor, by the way, he was a straight up guy. He's a very, very reasonable guy. When he assessed me for this, I said, "What are you doing to me?" He says, "Listen, you increase the value. It's there." And so, we paid the tax because he was right,
Yeah.
and when it comes time for the abatement is when our building is finished and then we get some relief. But we paid the tax and we have been, and I'm not trying to get a credit for it. I'm just, now that we come to the time when underwriting becomes important and the building becomes leased and expenses need to balance, that's when I noticed it. I didn't notice it.
Okay. Well, that helps me understand. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from commissioners for Mr. Diadio?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to mention one thing, which, if it is something the commission think makes sense, purely if, one of the things that I have been kicking around is, do you attach it to the same investment that he's made to get the 10 years and 10 years? So the only time you could ask for this would be if you spend the $25 million, which is what he did. As of right now, he's the only project that has hit 25 million. So I know we were talking about the 10 to 12 other projects. None of them hit that $25 million number. So I just kind of put that out there as, is it the perfect answer? No, but it's the only thing that I could come up with to say this one and nobody else, if it was something that made sense.
Yeah, I think that this is complicated, and I think we have to be careful how we handle this. I think this is at corporate council level,
It is.
because we're talking about contracts and abatements for a lot of other developers and builders that have come before us. So I'm a little apprehensive taking any action until you hear from exactly what corporate council thinks about what a decision might mean to all the other projects that have come before us. Because we don't want to create a hornet's nest for all of our people at town hall and have to rewrite. If there's a way to get an end result that doesn't impact all the other applicants and cause trouble, then we certainly can look at it, but I'm not sure we're there yet.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the good news. So the next meeting when this is going to be brought up is the December 6th meeting. I'm sorry, excuse me, January 6th ordinance meeting, which will be before town council. I believe at this point, I don't have the schedule in front of me. I believe we're meeting on the 5th of January, which will be our meeting. So if that is the case, we will be the night before. So we can definitely do a little more digging. And I would say in particular, Dave, if you have particular thoughts or questions that I can direct to the town attorney, I'm more than happy to do so. Because again, and it's something where he has been working directly with Mr. Diadio's attorney and the like on this. So definitely, again, and I agree, the unintended consequence of 10 to 12 other tax abatement recipients coming back and asking for this as well could end up being very, I mean, I look at a situation.
But may I make a comment relative to that? Because I do understand you're worried about what someone else might think or do. And,
Yep.
and all those things are important when it comes to these kinds of decisions. But may I also bring up that, you know, because of the size of this project and because of when financing came into place, I think that you take a look at your other 10, none of those likely did this extensive work prior to financing getting involved. So their base assessment year is the year they started. You know, our base assessment year was 2021 or 2020 because we spent our own cash of $8 million before we put a bank in place. And it only affected us because we signed the tax abatement so further after when we thought the tax abatement was going to start. And so I think that all your projects, and unless there's projects that haven't started yet, you know, they got their tax abatement and started building, and it happened. In our case, that all started quite a bit in the past, so that now all of a sudden we're faced with this whole, you know, $175,000 when we started and there was a farm to $5 million. I mean, that the land didn't grow in value like that. I mean, we did the improvements.
Okay, thank you, Peter, for sharing all that information with us. Are the commissioners okay moving on from this item at this time?
Yeah.
You're all right, Ed? Okay. All right, thank you, Peter, for sharing that information with us. Okay, Chris Edge, what else do we have on this?
Thank you
item?
very much, Peter.
Thank you all for taking the time to speak to me.
Thank you.
Sure. So this is more of an update. We don't need to take any action on it. So I did a little bit of digging on, because we were talking about the Norton Four Rod Road development, and we had approved him for a 10-year tax abatement, but he's going to be selling all the units.
Okay,
So what we had come up with was a 3-year tax abatement to the level of the investment somebody's making to purchase a condo unit. I look back at 2005, and if you look at the sheet here, it should be the second to last sheet. I looked at everyone that was there for the tax abatement. So the tax abatement was given to the developer itself, which I believe at the time was Mr. DeRocher. And then I also have the dates of when everything else was purchased.
Okay.
And I could find nothing in economic development notes or nothing in town council. So I'm gonna do a little more digging, but kind of what my hope would be is at our January meeting, I have some more details. And then if we have that, or the other option is if you look at the last page here, if we find nothing in 2005 through 2010 that we can use as a basis, we basically start brand new, which is and the language here is just conceptually here. And just to let you know, both Vincent and Maggie, the Economic Development Commission recommends that the Berlin tax abatements be modified to allow eligibility for firms that are buying newly constructed industrial condos in town. Level of investment, which determines the number of years of abatements, will be based upon the level of the investment purchase price of the condos they purchase. Again, that's if we have to start brand new and go to the ordinance committee, which would then be meeting the night after our meeting.
so we can hold off on making a
Yeah,
decision.
no,
until
I'm not,
January 5th.
yeah, I'm not planning on having it because this is just what I found in digging. And it's something that, again, I don't know whether or not they got them or not at this point. I have not looked that deeply into it, but in my mind, I think, I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but it seemed that providing a 3-year tax abatement for each of the condo buyers made a lot more sense than giving them all 10 years, because they're not making the $12 million, $14 million investment.
Sure.
But if they're making an investment of $500,000, that gives them 3 years.
Yeah, this had to be changed from the original concept where we give the developer the
Yes.
abatement, and we're
Yep.
not sure if he's gonna finish all 50.
Correct.
Yep.
So let's, if we can, if the commissioners are okay, think a little bit about this, and then in the January
Yep.
meeting, if there's additional information, Chris, you can share it with us. And
Yes.
then maybe we can sort of make a recommendation.
Yep.
That the ordinance committee looks at modifying, or making an abatement schedule for this particular
Yeah,
situation.
what it would be is, it would be additional language that we would add to the policy itself.
Sure.
Because it's not something we have in place, because again, this has largely been a developer or owner occupied construction program.
Right.
Where this one's different, where it's literally, again, from 2 years ago to today, it was, I'm gonna keep them all, to now, wants to be in and out by probably 4 years.
Okay,
And I think there is a benefit to us because if we can do, again, it's a huge no, but a 3-year tax abatement on a brand new industrial condo, if it's bringing in companies, and again, I think when we look at who I think we're likely gonna see here, this is where we're gonna see the majority of it, electricians, plumbers, HVAC, where again, you're talking about the $75,000 to $100,000 trucks that they're buying at Tasca that are giving the tax rolls.
okay.
So,
Is everyone all
yeah,
right
did you have a
with that?
question, Maggie?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right,
Awesome.
On 5 now, Chris?
Yep, 5. So we just talked about Arbor Farms. We'll take no action on that. Language addition, older properties, churches, and clubs was the other one. If you look on Farmington Avenue, I think it's the old Moose Club, has been sitting there for a long time. We'd look at all of these. What language it comes up with, I don't know, but because many of these predate zoning and are in residential zones, we need to figure out some language that can make them viable.
Okay,
Because somebody's gonna have to finance it. What that is, I'm not sure. I believe the Historical Commission is talking about it tonight. I have a Zoom meeting tomorrow with the buyer and seller of the church, so we're hoping we can have some language to bring back to this commission pretty soon. CMDA, which is a Connecticut Municipal Development Authority, which is the one where we could potentially get financing for private sector or grants to the town for projects within a half mile of our train station. The gentleman came in and talked to us, and the next night he went to town council. So we're gonna need to do a public hearing and a town council item to essentially just opt in. Yes, we're willing to have a discussion to move further. So that will be in January. 1162 Berlin Turnpike, no real update on that one. POCD, Mr. Edward, if you would like to take that on.
Okay, well, just
Actually,
briefly,
let me grab the books that way people have. It's the alternative.
Okay, wait for him, or-
yeah, I guess so. I'm gonna have to, if I head out, we're short a quorum, right?
how far are we?
'Cause
I'm not gonna go through this that
I've
much.
gotta head out. If it's called, but I
All right, I'll go without Chris. We'll move this along. All right, well, if we all have the books for the PLCD, all right, starting on page 123, you notice that some of these items refer to the Economic Development Commission. So if we can go through those like I did, and I circled what is important to us, and in the future meetings, we can talk about them. And any commissioner can bring up a certain item on these particular subjects. And then we can go on from there. So we can prioritize what we want to move forward on and use that as discussion. So there's probably
I think it's not working here. Hold on.
10 pages or so. If you also notice, they categorize them within between high, medium, and low, with talking about priorities.
So which page are you talking about again, Ed?
123 we start. I think.
123, gotcha. 123 to, because what I'd like to do is just send everybody those pages. That way they can have them and then hopefully between now and the January meeting,
Yeah,
just those pages instead of, so, okay, so 130. Sorry, I'm trying to see where we are. Transportation, facility services, 130, no, that's probably outside.
Chris, that's helpful if you send us those particular pages.
Yep, yeah, I'll do that. That way you can
Thank you.
actually take them, print them and make some notes as well. Yes, it looks like it's like 123 to 1. Sorry, I'm trying to see where we stop here. Facility services.
the front page.
One-
I
yeah,
go
one-
through all the different sections.
Well, I'd say.
But what we're talking about here is just
yeah.
for our commission.
Yeah, so 123 to 131 looks like it's the pages that, 'cause it looks like 131 is the last page
Yep.
where we're involved with transportation. Then it goes into facilities, which again is just more local properties. So
Get to 137.
137, okay.
Okay,
Yep, yeah, and I can easily just scan that and get that over to you guys, no problem. And then what I can do is basically then get that to you, and then we can have an open discussion at the 1-5 meeting, and then I'd say make notes, etc. And then when we all have it in front of us, and hopefully people take notes, we can have a discussion.
I think they're talking about having a meeting in January.
Okay.
So if someone has a priority that they want me to bring up and so forth. As far as the zoning and everything we talked about, or I talked about last meeting. Maybe within time, that might be reviewed and so forth.
Okay, and we talked about this last meeting and everyone took a copy of this. I have mine, although I haven't gone through it yet, so I guess good holiday reading maybe over the holidays if you have the chance.
I find something more pleasurable.
Well, yeah, but we gotta do it, maybe over the holidays, we'll
Yeah.
have a little time.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think too, if we can just pin down those particular pages, that'll be more helpful because it is a large and intense book because I've really gone through it with a red pen.
All right, are we on 6 now?
We are on 6. So a couple things. Tri-State Materials Testing is actually December 19th. So we've been pretty blessed recently for the fact that the Hartford Business Journal, which I think should rename themselves the Hartford Business List Company because they seem to be experts in lists. Tri-State Materials Testing was one of the top 20 minority-owned businesses in Connecticut. They are in Berlin. Actually, I brought them here from Wallingford. Arissa, which is further down, she was also on the list of minority businesses. So essentially, what I've done is to take the insert from the Hartford Business Journal, put it on a plaque, and I'm giving it to each one of them. We did that for the esteemed Mr. Fortunato and his daughter. We're going to be doing the same thing for Olson on Friday the 5th. So really nice thing. I know that Berlin being in lists is not a big surprise, but it usually says Eversource and Comcast as our largest employers and taxpayers. But to see locally owned companies in there, to me, I think that's very cool because it is important. And I mean, we have the plaque place in town. For me, it's also important to be able to say thank you to the companies for being here. So that's just those things. Olson Construction, we're going to be doing to Milestone and the special award. Kensington Insurance, at some point I'm going to give it to them, maybe. And then Ameritech, which is at the end of Main Street, New Britain Road here, and Kensington Road. I'm just waiting for them to put their sign up. to do an event there. Ready?
Good enough.
Sure. Ferndale, nothing new. Sherwood Falls, great news. We got the letter that they were awarded a $30,000 assessment grant. The association, the tenant association, or should say condo association members are going to do the match of $3,000. So they're going to be doing 4 quarters of testing to see if it is clean. If so, then Mr. Carrier is planning on putting his application and building 16 townhouses.
There's enough money there with the condo group kicking in.
Yep,
to do all the
yes.
Testing.
Yes, yes. So you can see what's going to happen now is, so we're going to have a site walk. There's approximately 8 or 10 environmental firms that work directly with, it's a Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, but it's underneath them. And so they'll do a site walk. We will get all the different proposals. The committee, I'm one of 5 members of the committee, will look at it, and everything from how many different tests you're going to do, how many pits, I mean, all the different pieces to look at it. And we're going to decide which one makes the most sense. This is not a government low bid wins it. This is going to be what makes the most sense for this property and this project, because we do want to see this happen. So that this has been a bit of effort. The good news is, from a town perspective, we were nothing but a facilitator. We're not putting any money into the grant. The entire grant process is overseen by the group that's giving it. So the good thing is too, is this is one of these no harm, no foul, but the benefit to us could be tremendous, because these will be 16 townhouses for sale, which again, it's something we don't have many of. And you know, that property's been there for, I don't know, when did Sherwood happen? 15, 20 years ago?
Probably 20 years.
20 years ago.
Mhm.
Well, that was sitting there, and that was a, just
It is.
light. And, you call Mr. Carrier in here, and
Yep.
you've been working with him, so this is a success story.
It was great. And I mean, the nice thing too was, again, I don't know if anybody here is an attorney, but literally it was the association, myself, Mr. Carrier sat down, talked about it. There was no attorney in the same zip code as us, and we got it done.
Good.
Because that has been the biggest kicker in here is, and again, I mean, it makes so much sense. I mean, the association owns the development rights to the property. So whatever Carrier thinks it's worth, they're going to pay the association. So it's in the association's best interest to have clean report. Plus, anybody with their head screwed on straight knows if you have 16 nice condos across the street, it does nothing but help the value of your condo itself. Because I mean, it's been a vacant site for 20 years.
Correct.
Does never look completed.
No, it didn't, and this will be nice. Movie theater, really nothing. Gateways, I think we can look at that probably sometime next year. Town-owned properties, the plan right now is to, I talked to Mayor Mark. And so conceptually, the idea would be is we would have and this with the assistance of Jeff D'Onofrio, town attorney, creation of a 3-person committee. And so hypothetically, myself, I'm going to look at more of the economic side of, is this property have value? Maureen and Alexa to look at it and say, okay, do we have any easements, or did we get a grant on it? Or is it a piece that for some reason the town needs to keep? Third person at this point is, and she's verbally agreed to do it, which would be Sandy Capola, because Sandy is one of the smartest people I know, plus the fact that she's on the council. So the 3 of us would essentially look at it. If we find one that we think makes sense, we'd bring it to the council for their consideration. If they say yes, we would then work with Attorney D'Onofrio on how do we want to put this out there? Because he works with about 5 or 6 different towns right now, his firm. And so my recommendation is, and we'll work with him, is we put out kind of a targeted RFQ or RFP, which is a town would like to see X. We're not going to get X, but if we put out there what we believe makes the most sense on a property, we get proposals in. The good news is we're the town. We could get 100 proposals. We don't like any of them. We say we don't like any of them.
Good.
And really, I think if I was to say, where do we start? We start with the little half acre out in front on Kensington Road that is part of this property. Again, if we can hit some low hanging fruit to start with, hit a couple singles. The good news is a gentleman who talked to us, and then he talked to the council at a couple properties. So I'm feeling good about this. The good news is it's going to be a slow process, but if we can start getting a couple under our belt, it's going to be great. My biggest challenge is going to be convincing the town council members that not every property is going to be a lottery ticket. That it's the long-term benefit of not having to mow it, plow it, etc. from a town perspective. So, but this is progress, and I'm excited about it finally happening.
Okay.
So if I understand it,
Yep.
you're gonna put it out to bid, and it's gonna be the highest bidder?
No,
Okay.
no.
So are we gonna put a price tag on it? And if we do it that way, is the a budding property owner having the first chance at it?
I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Okay, but that's something that maybe could be.
Oh, yeah, no,
considered.
absolutely. I mean, and this, again, this is where we're gonna have to kind of look at it. I think it's less about the money than what is the property going to be in the long term, and does it benefit the town or the neighborhood?
But
Because,
if the general public doesn't have any access to it.
Yeah.
And no one's using it for anything.
Yep.
There's no reason for the town to own it.
you're speaking my language, my friend. And that's why when I look at the list of whatever, 300 some properties, I don't know how many are or not, but if we can find, let's say, 10 to 20 properties that are worth consideration that we don't have to take care of, we don't have to mow it, et cetera. Great. I mean, if somebody gives us $1 and puts it back on the tax rolls, we're already on the positive side of the ledger in my mind.
Okay, good, Chris, thank you.
Sure.
Are we on 8?
We are on 8, yes. So gifting starts with 5. You spend $25 at any of our gift shops. Let's see, Hunger for Nature Center, Good Cause Gifts, Dragonfly Design, Ravishing Decor, or Berlin Kiosk between now and Sunday the 7th. You can win prizes. So buy gifts for your loved ones. We extend it to the 7th of December. I literally have 2 huge gift baskets in the back of my car, but another $300 in restaurant gift cards.
Okay.
Promotion of bus line 511, and I don't have the sheet here, but I'm not going to stress about it. We're looking to actually do a promotion because we have gotten a couple success stories from Avna, formerly OK Industries. They have a couple people that came on the bus, started working for them, bought their own cars. We want to use that to really help, let's say to put it is, help personalize a bus line.
Sure.
Because there are careers, there are opportunities. I want to get more companies involved. Actually, no, let's see if I can do this here because I put this together. I think it's cool. I'm going to show you anyway. So this is purely a concept that I have been kicking around. It may or may not make any sense, and I will share this with you guys there at home. So this is purely conceptually what we potentially could do on the side of a bus. And the top here, I don't think you can see it very well because you can't shrink this a little bit so you can see a little better. There you go. Discover your future in the career corridor. Again, if it's on the side of a bus, the idea would be is can we get these employers to invest with us? Because if they're on here looking to find people, scan a QR code, again, I just took this from an existing map, but if this is something that we potentially could do, it would help, 1, awareness of Berlin businesses, 2, bring people to the table for these businesses, and 3, share the cost with the private sector who will benefit directly from this. Avna, the reason they've gotten so much success is they have both sides of the 511 bus. This is bus 11, 511 for the next X number of years. So we do the feeder routes, so the ones that are coming in from New Britain, Meriden, et cetera. No idea what the dollars and cents look like, but as we talk to different people, including employers, this seems to make a lot of sense because, the biggest issue right now is finding people.
Sure.
And I think that the 2 biggest pockets of potential future employees right now is Meriden and New Britain, and they just don't have cars. So we need to make them aware of the bus line and what's happening with this.
Okay, so this is what we're talking about, having it on the side of the bus.
That's the concept of what we're thinking of anyway.
Okay. I think we gotta name this bus.
Career corridors, what we have so far. I don't know if we want to do something different, but we can definitely talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but it's gotta catch on that other people are saying, what was that on the side of the bus?
Mhm.
Or maybe somewhere we're gonna say, we'll deliver you to your new job or something of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is people much smarter than I, basically Marianne and some other folks on the marketing side will definitely help us. I mean, the good news is there's a really smart person at CT Transit who just right now is in the middle of some major staff issues, has not been able to connect with us. I would have put our head together with her to really have it be co-branded with them and DOT. So it is truly not just a Town of Berlin.
As long as they're cooperative, that's
Yep.
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, last item is grants.
Sure, grants. So I talked about the 30,000, connectivity. We got, I think it's our 5th or 6th. Essentially, this is the monies we've been using to create sidewalks.
Right,
And so this one, I believe, is going to be part of 4ROD, and then there's going to be some sidewalks in East Berlin as well. And the good thing is too, is this has been, I think the first one we got was the connectivity between Town Hall and Farmington Avenue, which again, at that point, you're walking in mud. So it's really been a great, great program for us. Arts, we got a smaller grant because I did not realize it, but the budget that I was using, which was mine, I was not supposed to. I was supposed to use the actual arts budget, so we have less money. But the good news is a lot of the things we have in place are already started, and I'm going to get back to you, my friend, on the bench, because that's something we talked about that we really would like to do with you. And then the last thing is my friend Bob here has something he would like to chat about, so I thought I would give you a moment to kind of chat a little bit, and also who you are as well.
I'm sorry, Bob Becker, I'm president of the Condo Association, Town Place, 211 New Britain Road. My curiosity is the 303 New Britain Road, Connecticut Sand and Stone. What their plan is, if they're planning on staying east of the railroad tracks, or if they're talking about actually doing something on the New Britain Road side. There's actually a precedent about your town-owned property, because the town used to own, I believe, 30 feet of property on the Britain Road.
Okay,
Between Town Place and McDonald's.
gotcha.
The other 20 feet was owned by Miss Connecticut
Yep.
Sand and Stone.
Yep.
And we acquired that property and took it off a liability for the town and added it to the tax base. So there is a
Gotcha.
precedent for your town-owned property.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
That was my question.
No, yeah, no. So we met with them. I had a pre-application meeting. They, at this point, are only planning on using New Britain Road for access into the property. Their plan right now, all the development is going to be on the,
There's no access off the Britain Road to that property.
they own a sliver next to Prentice Place.
Oh, next to Prentice Place.
Yes,
okay.
that's Prentice Place. Yeah, they're not going to use the access by
That's-
211.
It's impossible.
Yeah, but by 211, there's a major grade change that it would be nearly impossible to do. But yes, at this point, their plan is to create 15, 20 acres of industrial land in the back there. My guess what it's going to probably end up being, if I can crystal ball it, is firms that don't fit anywhere else. Good example would be Andy Rubik and his firm, Colson Enterprises. It would be small building, material yard, et cetera. So I don't see this being a location that we're going to have a big bottling factory. I don't think that makes sense. My opinion as well is, and not that I've thrown this out much, is I think it wouldn't be a bad idea for the town to consider maybe grabbing a piece there themselves. I mean, our public works garage right now goes up to people's knees when it flows. Again, not to say good, bad, and otherwise, but this is land you don't have. And I think we could definitely, it would be usable, but it would not be something where it would be of a huge 24 hours a day bottling facility or something. And I think with the GI zone, we need to be somewhat cautious because there are uses in there we would not want to see. No question, because I mean, there's waste energy, but I think there's opportunities here where we can work with them because they're really, our support is a big thing in this because they need to get into the state soil reuse program to bring in the soil, to bring the property up. But I mean, the good news is I think by March 1st or so, the hope is that they have planning and zoning approval. They can go to the state and that they will officially buy the property, put it back on the tax rolls.
We originally wanted to acquire that strip that they own, but they never responded. We wanted to put parks all the way
Yep.
around the building, but because we couldn't acquire that piece, we just added 17 or 18 spots.
Well, you know what? Let me get the gentleman, Bob, from IDA, which is the new partner, Rhode Island based, very cool guy that we were down walking the site.
Yeah, it's of no use to them at this point.
No. It doesn't, and it's like a 20-foot strip or something, not even.
300.
Yep, no, I can definitely connect you.
The parking lot on Prentice Place.
No.
No. His,
It's
it's
211 New Britain Road.
literally,
McDonald's.
Oh, I see.
yeah,
Okay.
it's literally a little land buffer, and I think you guys probably have it curved up to one side and they have it curved on the other side.
Well, McDonald's is curved on one side, but curved on the other side.
Yep.
It's just.
Yep.
We'll do it.
Bob is also up to his eyeballs in Lions Club as well.
Yeah.
He thought he retired. He didn't actually. He just changed jobs. It's unpaid through the Lions now.
Well, if the winter's not.
Yep.
Let's try to work.
Oh, absolutely.
At this point, I don't know that we would expand the parking lot again, but it's always a possibility.
Well, if you get it,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point too, I mean, once they're in control of it, or it even could be something where at the transfer of title,
It would improve our parking lot safety, because that way we can have an entrance and an exit and not jammed up right by the Dunkin' Donuts entrance where the people are that way.
Yep,
So in that respect,
yep,
yes. it would
if
be
you can,
helpful.
if you can, when you get, just drop me an email when you get a chance, because what I'll do is take it, forward it to him, and the good thing is too, he's right on my cell phone, so
And
thank
there's a
you.
curb break there because a long time ago, it was an access underneath the railroad tracks to that property, but that's long gone. Okay.
All right, folks, anything else, to discuss this evening? Okay, good. We're looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second somewhere.
Second,
Okay,
Vince got it. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain, motion passes. Thank you, everyone.
Yes,
for
and
coming.
thank you, Vince, for coming on. Maggie, thank you for being here. I hope you feel better.
thank you, thank you.
And take care of yourself, because you got a lot of people that are counting on you, including us.
Thank
So,
you.
good night, everyone. Thank you.
feel better. Thank you.
You well.
Bye, everybody.
I gotta-
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all
For
very much.
everybody.
See ya.
Thank you. Yeah. thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.